Hi guys, Transit Diaries here. Just going to speak a bit about the left and right today and the further disintegration between the two. Some people are still making the argument that, this whole thing between left and right no longer is applicable. That's a whole bygone era. I don't know what planet these people are living in. I think the whole left and right political spheres are more relevant today than they have ever been, as far as I can see. The only thing I see that's completely irrelevant in this modern day, in 2017, is centrism. It has absolutely no place. I mean, it's the worst of all possible situations, is being on the centre at the moment. For God's sake, I mean, when American classical liberals find themselves having more in common with big C conservatives in the United States than they do with liberals, then I mean that says a lot about centrism for you today. So anyway, the big question, of course, that everyone wants to ask is, is this going to get worse? And I'm afraid I can't bring positive news to the table on that. It's only a prediction of mine, of course, but I'm just going to say what I know everyone else is thinking. Yes, it is. It's not going to get better between the left and the right. And now, where do I stand on this? Just to be clear, for complete transparency, I'm on the right. I'm right-wing. I'm proud of it. I'm unapologetic. And I'm not backing down for my values and my belief systems and so on and so forth. We have to remember, traditionally, in European history, this, as Churchill said, it's better to jaw than war. But he also said, that war was the inevitable extension of a failed political system. So when politics fails, war carries over. And if you look throughout European history, I mean, that's literally a fact. When two competing ideologies, for the want of a better words, could not break bread on an issue, and the situation became so painful for all involved, they literally had to meet up on a field and fight it out, and that's how it was decided. And I mean, that is a European history dating back to the hoplites of classical Greece. That's how things were done. So we're living in a relatively new period of time where somehow, but that's unthinkable. That we have to have dialogue. We have to. Yes, we do. And by all means, keep the dialogue going as far as we can. But I'm afraid, from a historical context, that dialogue breaks down and it spills over into violence. And I'm afraid this week has been a good example of that. Now, let's be clear, because it's depressing that I have to put this caveat or disclaimer in, that I'm not condoning the actions of what happened this week. Really ain't. Had no part to play in it. Yeah, didn't do it, didn't help anyone. Yeah. But I'm afraid this is the inevitable consequences. The bottom line is, as a person on the right, my biggest fear, and I think this fear is justified, freedom of speech really is being threatened. And a lot of people make a big, freedom of speech, but really freedom of speech doesn't mean that much at all. What's more important is my right to offend people. That you can, if you take that away from me, freedom of speech means absolutely nothing. It's hot air, gas. That's all it is. It means absolutely nothing. The reality is, I honestly believe freedom of speech is being clamped down upon. I honestly feel that is under threat. Minorities, will say, in Europe today might have, their biggest fear might be, we'll say, because will the West ever be forgiven for the Holocaust or colonialism or so on and so forth? So their biggest fear, of course, is, look at what you've done in the past, white people, and I mean, you've killed on an industrial scale and so on and so forth. And I mean, there's evidence for to be scared. I mean, that's a legitimate concern to have, of course. Um, um, but just from my perspective, freedom of that's how much I'm scared of the loss of freedom of speech. Because I mean, freedom of speech is, we have a mechanism in place in Western society today where two communities don't get on. You know, that is the mechanism. Freedom of speech, freedom to offend. That is the mechanism to let all this hot air out so people can put their cases forward. But that is slowly but surely being shut down. And especially this week, like, I mean, the kind of fanaticism that we've seen from mainstream media this week after the Finsbury Park attack. For God's sake, I mean, for example, the Independent called the police to lock Tommy Robinson up. Okay, so that's a journalist outlet asking to lock up a citizen of the United Kingdom because somebody committed a terrorist act. Okay, we've asked. They've called for a journalist called Douglas Murray to be discredited as a hate preacher. I mean, this is absurd. This is really absurd. If you think that this is going to fix the situation, then you are completely wrong. It's going to make the situation worse. These are some of the few people in journalism today that represent anything that looks like opposition to the left. And I mean, there's a big price to pay today for having anything other than a liberal view of the world. I mean, you have to understand that, you know, as a white person, you know, we'll say a minority. If I call a minority a racist, you know, they laugh it off. It doesn't hurt them emotionally, it doesn't hurt them financially, it has no social ramifications. It's like water off a duck's back. A minority calls a white person racist. That white person loses their job. They get excluded socially. They lose all their friends. They lose their entire livelihood. Like, I mean, it is an intellectual attack on that person, you know. So it is not easy today to go out against the mainstream. It is not easy today to say simple things like, me, for example, I'm a white, straight male. Just to make that comment is so controversial today. You're risking your job, you're risking your career, you're risking your marriage, your social dynamics. I mean, it's where did we cross the line that this is now acceptable? So you understand that if you think that shutting down journalists that have opposing opinions to globalism, socialism, multiculturalism, diversity, so on and so on, if you think shutting these people up is going to make the situation better, then I'm afraid, really, really, you understand what happens when you shut these people up. You understand where you're forcing people to meet on the battlefield then to sort this out, because that is nothing short to take freedom of speech and call it hate speech, to take away people's right to be verbally offensive to each other and call it hate speech is nothing short than a declaration of war, in my humble opinion. So I'm merely extending an olive branch to left-winged people today. Please understand the weight of the situation. If you're just going to keep calling people racist and marginalise them, this will not end up good for all concerned. But maybe this is a bridge we have to cross. What time will tell. All I know is, I'm quite confident where my values are. I'm unapologetic about this. I'm not backing down. I'll just let you in on a little secret here if anyone disagrees with me. Don't think for one moment that I can't morally justify my position. Don't think for one moment that I don't think I'm holding the moral high ground. I try to challenge left-wing people on this issue all the time, but they won't debate me on it. But all I'm saying is, don't think for one moment that it's a simplistic thing that you're the good guy and I'm the bad. I can make the moral arguments, I can make the ethical arguments. I'll stand by for what I believe in unapologetically. Anyway, please comment in the comment box, subscribe, like if you like the video. If you don't, give it a thumbs down, no problem. I'm setting up a Patreon page, but I do have a PayPal open there. If you're feeling that generous, if you throw me $1, I would much appreciate it. I'm holding down a day job and I make these videos in the meantime, and they really do take up an enormous amount of my time. And as I say, I really am on the front line here. You know, it's not easy. You pay a big cost just to express yourself in this day and age. So any bit of support that I can get is greatly appreciated. Anyone, talk to you all in the next video. Good luck. Have a good one.